Boom. And thank you all for coming to Stone Soup tonight. We got a pretty good full house. I think enough for a football team. One third of a football team. Basketball, who cares? Everyone is in. Had some little hiccups here and there, but I'm glad everyone's coming on. And for those of you who are listening live on Facebook, you can join via the Stone Soup Poetry page, which has a link. If you're looking at this now, chances are you're Facebook friends with me. And therefore, you'll be able to join via a link that I posted about a day ago on Facebook to the Zoom meeting. All the information is there. The only place I don't post it is on Twitter, which leaves us safe from the trolls for the most part. And I'm glad I'm finally able to get back on a regular schedule. I'm glad some of the regulars are back with us as well. For those of you who were somehow able to make nearly every single open mic since election started, my deepest thanks and condolences, because I was heading a train wreck while being a wreck myself. So I hope today goes smoothly, and I hope we get joined by some other people. There's a lot of people I want to check in with and hope that they're doing okay since the election. A lot of people are exhausted. A lot of people are emotionally anxious for whatever the hell is going to happen next. So, so I hope you're all doing well from the aftershocks of what's going on. And without any further ado, I want to get to the open mic. For those of you who are listening online via either the live Facebook feed that's happening on Wednesday night, or via the YouTube video, which will be uploaded by Thursday morning. Stone Soup meets every Wednesday night now from 7 to 9. I'll be able to announce our first feature. Hopefully we'll have one next week, but if not, we definitely have one for December 2nd. And I might as well say it right now, for those of you who are watching, you get the exclusive. I don't know how many of you are familiar with Tony Brown. Tony Brown is a very well-known Worcester poet, fantastic poet. And it's kind of funny. I asked a bunch of people to try and feature before the election, but no one wanted to feature before the election. And Tony Brown was the one person I probably should have asked, but wasn't organized enough to, because regardless of what the outcome was, his set would have been amazing, A, and B, it wouldn't have changed no matter who won. If you know Tony's politics, and you know his poetry, he pulls no punches in his commentary and his work, whether or not he's been doing it at the Cantab or at the Worcester venues or his own venues throughout the years. He is mostly keeps to his WordPress site, which I hope to link to when we post his actual information, which hopefully will be by tomorrow or no later than Friday. But after the holidays, I think it'll be a great, whatever your holiday stress is, whether some of you are braving going back to your families, or if you're going to do the smart but sad thing and stay indoors and stay home and make the best Thanksgiving you can. I think he will be the perfect cleanser for whatever palate you have to swallow this year. And I highly recommend you show up for that. And other than that, hopefully more people will be added as we go. Now that I have more time to ask people, I'm getting very excited about that. And Patricia, do you want to take a few minutes to announce your event coming up this weekend?
You're in it. You're in it.
Yet. I'm also with Megan. How do you pronounce her last name? Megan
Sood.
Megan Sood? I knew.
And Joshua Corwin.
And Joshua Corwin. Megan
You get 15 minutes each. You're reading for me, for Brownstone Poets on Zoom. It's from 2 o'clock Eastern Standard Time to around 4-ish. If you go over a little bit, don't worry. It's a limited open mic. We do like about 3 minutes. So read only one poem or anything about that'll get you like 3 minutes. And we got it's $5. We try to help pay the features.
Right.
And we also pay for this organization for Zoom and for the anthologies that we put out once a year.
The Brownstone anthologies are a lot of fun if you're lucky enough to feature on one, and if it's a feature and be included in one. And even if you're not included, I'd still recommend grabbing them. Megan Sood, if you've been on oddballmagazine.com at all, well, you know about me because I won't shut up about it. But you'd also know about Megan Sood because she's been featured at Oddball recently. She's also involved with numerous other projects, including the Life in Quarantine project. I'm sure she'll talk about more during the weekend. And Joshua Corwin, well, he's Oddball's new West Coast correspondent. I think he's officially part of the Oddball Foundation. And either way, he is definitely part of the columnist group with his weekly Incentivize, which is the most insane poetry project I've ever seen anyone tackle on a regular basis. And I do the Stone Soup Croutons poem. I'm a wimp compared to him. Definitely check out his column every Tuesday without fail at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and definitely be there for the feature. I'm the least of the reasons you want to go. But Megan's going to be exciting because I've never heard her read before, and I love her
She's
work.
wonderful.
And
She's wonderful.
And Joshua, I've seen on numerous open mics, but I've never seen him cut loose. So that'll be fun too. So definitely try
Can
and
you
make
put
it
that in the Patricia in
It's
the chat?
it's in the chat.
It's already in.
Oh, I don't.
It's $5. You have to sign. You have to pay first because we have to pay features and we pay Zoom and the organizations, and then you have to register because we don't want any Zoom bombers.
I'll send you the information because I actually have links to it myself.
I heard.
Don't
Can
worry,
you put it again? Because I think the chat works in a way where if you join, you only get the chat from the point you join on.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
So if you could repeat it before the night's over, I'll save the chat at the end.
No worries. So again, thank you very much for coming tonight. And let's get to the first of our open micers, who has been a very busy beaver during the entire 2020 election, and we appreciate her work that she did directly affecting that. And we'll forgive her for the boxes of ballots she's hiding behind the Christmas decorations. I'm kidding. Let's welcome up.
We don't want Trump, please.
Oh, I'd like to report voter fraud, please. I'm looking at someone. I think she's hiding votes in her stockings, and yeah. I see one from Mr. Ed. I see one from Dancer. You know, these are important people. Okay. Enough of my Trump impression. You might get enough of it during my feature, if I so help me God, I choose to read one of the erasure poems from my collection. Good God.
I have some erasure poems. I just started writing them.
Based on what?
On my own poems.
Erasures of your own works?
Yes.
Wow, that's a revisiting.
I got an idea from Karen Newberg, who's a good friend of mine. She's a very good poet.
Wow. Usually I just rewrite mine and just cut half the things I wrote originally anyway, but yours sounds intriguing. Your way sounds intriguing too. So anyway, let's welcome up first on the open mic, Patricia Kerrigan.
Okay, this is it's just published in Spectrum 25.
Oh yeah.
And Mega Soon is in it too. In this photo, and Joshua Corwin. In this photo, you were my mom, a bride with all the movie star glamour. It was taken at a studio. Where? I don't know. When you were alive, we've never discussed this or anything else. Now it's too late. Your quality of life, a girl's dream gone wrong, a marriage reinforced by regret. You wanted financial security, but Dad never did get that promotion. He drank at the bar after work, and the bookie used to call the house. Money and in-laws, Molotov cocktails served on anniversary platters. You lived inside a hardened shell. Sarcastic smiles bared your teeth. We've never discussed the future or my needs. I had to learn how to be myself, made one mistake after another. I never knew I was to be your caregiver. Now it's too late. The milk on the floor, a stain, indelible and cracked. The photo aged like the strain on our relationship. Your legacy met its detour. Tears have turned to salt. History left another voicemail. Forgiveness tied to a price tag that I could afford. Thank you. And if there's a round robin, I'll read the my poem and the erasure version of it. Okay? Thank you, guys.
That's great. And thank you, Patricia. Let's welcome up next.
Bumbles Bounce. My favorite two-line poem from Rudolph. Bumbles Bounce.
Oh, God. Very true. Very true. Let's welcome up. Oh, let's welcome up next, Mr. John Stickney.
Oh, so I was rooting around for something to read, and I found a 2020 resolution poem that I wrote last December, without anticipating what 2020 was actually like. So, some resolutions 2020. This is the year 2020 with all its inherent hindsight, in which I resolve to be Janice, to go forward while looking back. This year I will lose weight, space, and time. And in this year, my travel already booked, I will visit the Hadron Collider and merge with the God particle to give my favorite verse the omnipotence it deserves. I resolve that in this year of 2020, elephants will be contagious. This is the year where I finally release the policeman from the trunk of the 1957 monkey shit brown Chevy. He'll be my law enforcement time capsule, bringing the interrogation techniques of the golden age back to the forefront. Telephone books which don't leave body marks, and billy clubs. Nothing says voluntary confession like billy clubs across the soles of the feet. Yes, this is 2020, the year of the smartest smartwatch, and I resolve to pay attention, very close and particular attention to 11 and to 12, to 2 and to 1. Is this the year where the grass on my side finally grows greener, where the goose is sorry it's not a duck? Is this the year where the Queen and the President find their public necklaces in the town square, made of rope? Is this the year the Minotaur finally retires and lives by the sea? 2020 is full of potential possibilities of sleepwalking scissors and tentative innocence, of a sense of damp angels and limping broken shadows, of ivy and flames and spiders pitching pup tents. Take a moment, hand me that halo. It is 2020. There is heavenly work still to be done. Thanks.
Thank you, John. And it gives me great pleasure to introduce next Miss Carol Weston, who I'm going to unmute in just a moment. I basically call in myself and then call Carol, and we join the call. We joined the two calls. So now I did star 86. So Carol, I think you are all, let me see. There you go, Carol, you're on.
Garrett Lansing came to Stone Soup a few summers ago. He's the poet of magic and history from Gloucester, and unfortunately he died a year ago, February. What is it about this man of magic? He flows with the tides, keeps in touch with the moon, knows the lives of the creatures, the books of the alchemists, rises at dawn. And now my autobiography in 5 lines. Sperm, the pollywog my father gave. Egg, the tennis ball my mother gave. Fall, the step I tried to take. Scream, the voice I tried to speak. Sun, the ball that lifts me by my arms. Thank you.
Thank you, Carol. That was fantastic. And now, a little bit of an echo here, but there we go. That should still, okay, thank you, Carol. And we'll see you in the second round of this round robin. Let's bring up next Mr. John Wesseck.
There we go. All right. Yeah, I was going to say to John Stickney that, you know, when comes time for New Year's resolution, I just resolve not to make any promises I don't plan on keeping, and that usually takes care of it for the year. This is called 25 Definitions of a Poem. Words from a mute's lips, a unicorn in a Prussian helmet, the testimony of a murdered man, drumsticks tapping empty space, cymbals crashing at the end of a line, an orange flaming in a young boy's hand. Antelope footprints on Diamond Mountain, the granite knees of a great nation, black Stetson on a white surfboard, and Orca, his dorsal cutting glass like water. Beowulf's broadsword, Ned Kelly's iron mask, steel stirrups on a gynecologist's table, rebel yell, Politburo communique, the broken zipper on your lover's jeans, wine from an empty bottle, dimples on a woman's hips, stinking cups of genocide, black and overflowing, a symphony in a bed of snapdragons. Rumi's column, Kabir's loom, the silence at the end of Om, memoir of a childhood you never had. Thank you.
That was wonderful. And don't get me started on intentions for 2020. Good God, I was supposed to be in Ireland over the summer. Supposed to do a lot of things over the summer. Supposed to do a lot of things this year, but sad to say, did not happen. Just hoping to stuff them all in for 2021. We'll see what happens. But let's focus on the now. And right now, we're going to have Nancy Dotson press *6 and unmute herself so she can have her turn up on the open mic. There you are.
The sight and sound of death among the leaves. I see snowflakes across my window panes. No, it becomes a vision of brown oak leaves in the rustle of the wind, blowing and blowing the leaves off the branches. Recently, I can see the Charles River with the barren branches, with the sight of people walking and running along the river path. It is very cold today, and I fear for the animals in the frozen zero temperature. I detest the thought of death in the thought of ice frozen in its might. The hatred of seasonal sight and sound of demise so powerful, may we survive amid the frosty temperature always present.
Lovely, Nancy. Thank you so much. And now, who do we have next but Mr. Ethan Meckler? If you are ready, sir.
Yes. Can you hear me all right?
Just fine.
All right. This is The Coming of Wisdom with Time by W.B. Yeats. The leaves are many, the root is one, through all the lying days of my youth. I swayed my leaves and flowers in the sun. Now I may wither into the truth.
Love it. Thank you so much, Ethan. Looks like we're being joined, or thought we were being joined by Eric. Oh, yes. Looks like he's here. Just can't find. There he is. Hello, sir. We'll get you on the open mic. Is Crystal reading tonight?
I don't think she's going to read tonight.
We are all
She's-
sadder for it. Well, we'll wait for her next. We'll anticipate her words next time, and you should be coming up after the next person on the open mic, which is Cece Ashagra.
Okay,
Who hasn't
hi
unmuted
everyone,
himself
how are
yet.
you? I don't know if anyone heard, but Aldo Tamberlini passed away.
Yes, I did hear that, and I should make. I'll cut you off for a second by making an announcement for anyone who did know of him. If anyone has a eulogy for him, I would love to publish it. Aldo was a poet, filmmaker, visionary artist who sadly was literally before my time. A lot of people who were a part of Stone Soup came back at least once or twice. Aldo really never did. Aldo had his own thing going, and he had his own health issues, I know. But it would be good for someone who actually genuinely knew him to strike up some words. I'm thinking more in particular UCC or even you, James, who would, even if you guys met him like 3 times a piece, it was more than me.
Aldo was a dear, close friend. I talked to him many times. We went out together. I knew him when Sarah died. When he met Anna, I've known Aldo. He's been one of my closest friends in life. It kills me. I've been very much out of touch with him in the last few years. It's just been hard to get near him with his health thing going down. So, but yeah, Aldo as a human being was a miraculous individual. He was born and in Syracuse, and then there's articles all over New York Times, Italy, England, Germany, across the country, art magazines. There's all kinds of art. Aldo didn't just show up at Stone Soup one day as an old Italian guy with a few poems. He had a life on the Lower East Side, and all the way from childhood, from Italy, bombed as a child, Buffalo Soldier story, his mother, the story of his mother. It's an incredible arc of a fine artist who is a living example of most people are not known in their lifetime, and some artists are only known. He lived below the radar. He was a true non-commercial artist. And I have a poem, Aldo, I'll read it later on. In the key of listen, I wrote a poem, a portrait poem for Aldo. It was published on Tambu. It used to be on his website, but I'm going to just read a love poem, because last time I read something about Aldo, I started crying on the internet, which I don't do that often. But the one thing I can tell you about Aldo is that for years that I knew him, whenever something happened and he had something to say, you know how they say people take a stand, but he literally used to just fucking stand up. This man would just stand up. And whenever something was said and he had to stand in it, he'd literally get up out of his chair and stand. And I know nobody like him. And there's a video that I did on his 86th birthday that I did a tribute to him too, that's on the internet. I'm going to read another one, though, one of my favorite poems in a new manuscript, and then I'll go back to that because I've talked enough. But thank you for letting me share a few words about Aldo, and please look him up. This is a poem from a manuscript called True Love or Bust. It's one of my many manuscripts I'm working on. This is the 4th poem in the book. It's called Once Upon Denial Is. It's all unpublished work. Innocent are the deeds of reasons arrive. first in thoughts, behaviors, and then it happens. And consciousness is the mirror looking at the hammer in your hand moving closer. Within this first sight is a choice to see no reflection ever was. Once upon denial is, your soul no longer matters true. And innocent is never, ever true. Ever and ever again, true as premeditated horror. But when you see that, you still feel beyond the shattering. You long and search and ever look for the one answer to where do mirrors come from? But one true love plus 0 true deeds equals you still live what becomes a lie was. Innocent are the deeds of reasons arrive, first in thought, behaviors, and it happens. And consciousness is the mirror looking at the hammer in your hand moving closer again. That's probably one of the favorite lines I ever wrote, that last one.
Thank you, CC, and thank you for your words again about Aldo.
Yeah, please.
And he's very easy. He's very easy to look up on, even on Google. I just went on Google right now and typed his first name, Aldo. And this is the first time I've ever looked up a poet that I met at Stone Soup or elsewhere in the poetry scene, and he autofills from Google. I mean, that's pretty impressive.
MoMA in New York said, "We have lost a Titan." I don't know when his funeral or obituary was. I'm looking for it. I haven't seen anything, but I do see something here just now. Funeral home. If I could get some details, I'll share them later on. But I've taken.
Well, like I said, if you wanted to write something formal, we'd publish it.
Yeah, no, I'd love for you to do the Key of Listen poem. It's on the internet. I'll get it to you.
Okay. Let me get over to our next person on the open mic. I'm going to ask him to unmute. He's been among the first online Stone Soup features. It was great to have him, and it's great to have him on the open mic without fail. Let's welcome up Mr. Eric Tate.
Hi, Chad. Thank you. And also like to say condolences for Aldo. I knew him way back then, about the same time as I was introduced to CC. But I had gone to the vineyard that he had, that Aldo had for a time back then.
Yeah, the VFW in the Bay.
Right.
Yeah. I have videos lost on archives I can't access of those times. Yeah.
But yeah. But this one I'll read. It's called Shell Shocked. There are reports of a fence being quietly constructed around the White House. Opponents of the president speculate he's walling himself in case of a defeat. There's no telling what a sociopath with access to the nuclear codes would do if backed into a corner. At a time when Homeland Security has flagged white supremacists as the #1 domestic terrorist threat, and militias stoked by QAnon conspiracy theorists roam the streets, when the president on the debate stage in front of a national television audience instructs the Proud Boys to stand down and stand by, I'm not the only one who has an eerie feeling that something sinister is in the works. The last 4 years have left their mark on us all. It feels as though I've been on constant high alert, myself becoming caught up in this culture of paranoia. To that end, when the president addresses the nation on the eve of Election Day while wearing a blue tie instead of his signature red one, my mind immediately goes to a dark place whereby an innocent wardrobe variation could instead be the means by which the president finally activates the sleeper cells in his Confederate Army. Thank you.
Can't hear you,
I
Chad.
can't believe I thought I got over that bad habit. Thank you so much, Eric. And we're going to close the first round of this round robin with our penultimate closer. He's a columnist for Oddball Magazine at oddballmagazine.com. His column, It's All One Thing, is published every Thursday morning without fail at 11 o'clock. And I think he's going, God, this is 6th year now. I think he's done well past 350 columns now. That is a record, and I'm impressed just to think about it now. It's been a daunting thing, but an Oddball is now a foundation, a nonprofit, and I still do the same thing I do, but it's just amazing it's amazing what we've built up. And so thank you, James, and let's give you the mic finally.
Thank you. So I got a poem here that is sort of about my first experience. It's kind of in a way like what Eric was just talking about. So, and also I'd just like to say about Aldo, he was a lovely person, and I always enjoyed seeing him. I remember seeing him so much at Tate the Bears and coming there, and he would just come up to you, and he was such a peaceful and lovely person, and just very gentle, and he would ask you these questions or start these sort of strange conversations that always were quite lovely. So anyway, I have this poem here called Television. I'd heard about it, of course, and may even have been walked by one in a store window holding a parental hand. But a wise combo of thrift and caution usually had us the last ones on the block to actually buy any of the many technological innovations of those times. In the process, we avoided many fruitless fads and purchased better products lots cheaper, a point of family pride which favorably defined us in an ode to suggestible world, and amazingly, at least to others, it was not a hardship at all. So I first confronted one at a neighbor's house, a couple doors down, where all the kids had gathered to partake of the new technological wonder. I was the last one in the door, and therefore I had the luxury of investigating the box, sitting on a table in the living room, almost completely unobserved, since the blazing flicker of the box had everyone's attention. I'd seen movies, of course, and understood how film and projectors work, so initially I suspected this must be some home version of that process of beaming light. I looked behind some guy on the screen telling the news, but not like the newsreels. He was just sitting there like a boring bump, for Christ's sake. But there was no projector room behind the living room wall, and no beam of light descending to the dancing silver, gray, and black screen. This was serious, I realized. And intent on solving this mystery, I made my way to the rear of the infernal box to check for any tricks that might be hidden back there. Nope, nothing. By this time, my investigatory behavior had attracted the attention of the hosts, the proud owners, and my best friends, Kurt and Jan Miller. Where's it coming from, I asked, which they informed me that the cowboys, now chasing each other across the Old West on the screen, were being broadcast from Lansing, miles away. I finally realized it's like the radio with pictures. And then I knew we were in big trouble because if those guys way out there who do these things could do that, then they could do just about anything. Uh-oh, uh-oh. Smile, though your heart is aching. Smile, even though it's breaking. When there are clouds in the sky, you'll get by. If you smile through your fear and sorrow, smile and maybe tomorrow you'll see the sun come shining through for you. Light up your face with gladness. Hide every trace of sadness, although a tear may be ever so near. That's the time you must keep on trying. Smile, what's the use of crying? You'll find that life is still worthwhile if you just smile.
Thank you, James. I am going to take us back to the beginning of this lovely round robin. It's going to be great to hear everyone again, and then we call it a night and pretend the world will be entirely different by the time we wake up tomorrow. Nope, sorry, still got about a month and a week, a couple months ago, more or less. But now we have the erasure poem. Patricia, I love Patricia. She's all ready. If this is a running race, she'd be already like already raring to go, squatting down. She's ready to go with her erasure version of the poem that she just read in the first round robin.
No, this is a different, it's
It's
the
erasure of a different poem.
of the Misty. I'm going to read Misty and then Misty again.
Sweet. All right, let's hear it for Patricia now.
Okay, this is taken from the music, Ella Fitzgerald. Okay. From her perch above the human drama, Misty, the cream-colored cat, washed her paws clean. She knew her way around her master's apartment. Her kitten days faded like the album cover by the turntable. Ella Fitzgerald sang the cat's namesake song. Seduction for her master's friend, still irritable on the chaise lounge. Whenever mad, she'd kick off her pumps, her right foot would cross her left. After another glass of Chardonnay, she asked about his 1,000 violins and why his hello no longer sounded sweet. He poured himself another glass of wine, lost in words that lost their meaning. She took her hat and gloves, said a swift goodbye. The cat ran to the closed door and circled her master's legs, his eyes too misty to notice. Okay, now the erasure. Human drama knew her way around. Kitten days faded like cat's namesake. Seduction poured another glass of wine, lost in words that lost their meaning. Said a swift goodbye, eyes too misty to notice. Thank you.
Very nice. That exercise does well by you. That's great. Let's welcome up next. Let's see who. I believe it's Mr. John Stickney who's next now.
Gratitude. I shift, sit, shift, thankful for the pillow's comfort. My gratitude is often mistaken for sour grapes, but these grapes only appear withered. They're actually sweet and flavorful. We are grateful for the lash when it is used on others. My gratitude pales when compared with my dog and his reaction to any new treat or toy. Perhaps if I too had a tail.
Thank you, John. And up next, I have to unmute her. Oops. Oops. Third time's a charm. There you go. Carol Weston, your time up is once more.
Okay. Burning Lake. The burning lake is where we must swim to transform our hidden language into living fire. Scarred child. Scarred child, the tough blister of your skin keeps out all love and blocks the being in. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Carol. That was great. Always good to have you on these calls. Up next, we're going to welcome up Mr. John Wesick.
Thank you, Chad. So Ethan quoted Yeats here, and so this is my Yeats parody called Yeats' Isle at Trader Joe's. I will arise and go now and drive to Trader Joe's, and shopping cart wheel there, all steel and plastic made. 14 aisles will I find there, full of shoppers, I suppose, looking for curry, vodka, marmalade. I'll sample tofu sausage beside the falsewood mast, but careful must I park on pavement packed with SUVs, and I shall buy some pasta, for pasta boils up fast. Toppings, basil, pine nut, grated cheese. I will arise and drive now, no time to cook, too much to do. Since on this poet's budget it's hard to eat gourmet, I'll stand at the checkout, slide my bank card through, then take home a crate of $2 Chardonnay.
That's from Innisfree, right? The
Yep.
parody?
Yep.
Thought so. I thought so. Now I'm just trying. I actually heard an old recording of William Butler Yeats reading the Innisfree poem. Now I can just imagine him just like, go to Trader Joe's. I'm trying to picture him
He's
saying
got that kind of incantatory voice that they used to read it back in the day, you know.
Yes. Yes, love it. Okay, I won this round of Name That Poem. More importantly, let's go to the next person on the open mic who needs to press *6 by herself so she can unmute herself and take her second place in this round robin, Miss Nancy Dotson.
Cool and chilly. It is cool, chilly wind and weather. The dogs come in right away. It's not my turn to go out. First it will kill the plants. House plants are bedded ones. Fear of a kill makes me bring them in tonight. Frost, kill or what? Will they survive? I doubt.
Mic drop, and she is done. Thank you so much, Nancy. Appreciate you coming by. And we're going to bring us back to Mr. Ethan Meckler, the pulse of Stone Soup and much of the poetry scene around us in Boston. Welcome back, Ethan.
Thanks, Chad. You know, I was going through some stuff here at home, and I found this very old radio. And I was thinking maybe if I turn it on, I'll hear some very old voices, and I could play along with it, right? So why don't I turn this on and see who, if any, this side, and see if any famous voices come out of here.
Stan, examining them with his eyes as he blew his now settled down into regulated design, crazy notes. The booming drums, the high ceiling, and Adam, for my sake, dutifully cutting out at about 11 o'clock so he could go to bed and go to work in the morning. After a brief cutout with Patty and me for a quick 10-cent beer at Roaring Panteras, where Patty and I in our first talk and laughter together pulled wrists. No Mardu cut out with me, glee-eyed between sets for quick beers. But at her insistence at the mask instead, where they were 15 cents, but she had a few pennies herself, and we went there and began earnestly talking and getting high-tingled together, and that was the beginning. Returning to the red drum for sets to hear Bird, whom I saw now distinctly digging Mardu several times, also myself, directly into my eye, looking to search if really I was that great nut I thought myself to be, as if he knew my thoughts and ambitions or remembered me from other nightclubs and other coasts, other Chicagos. Not a challenging look, but the king and founder of the pop generation, at least, the sound of it, in digging his audience, digging the eyes, the secret eyes, him watching, as he just pursed his lips and let great lungs and immortal fingers work, his eyes separate and interested and humane, the kindest jazz musician there could be while being and therefore naturally the greatest. Watching Mardu and me in the infancy of our love, and probably wondering why, or knowing it wouldn't last, or seeing who it was would be her. As now, obviously, but not quite yet, it was she whose eyes were shining in my direction, though I could not have known, and now do not definitely know.
Thank you. That was Jack Kerouac reading The Subterraneans, and a little short thing by me afterwards. Thank you.
Thank you, Ethan. That came in great.
Thank you.
Looking forward to hearing that play back later. And I hope some of the Facebook people are listening in on this. I haven't checked on them in a while. Well, no hate mail, but give me time. Okay, so we will, was hoping for an appearance by the infamous Edgar Allan Poe. More on him another time. Maybe he'll visit us, maybe he won't. Let's move on next to Mr. C.C. Ashagra.
Okay. So this is, I don't know if anybody knows Tontongi. He was also a poet at Stone Soup quite regularly back in the late 90s, mid to late 90s. And he had a trilingual magazine called Tambu. And so he published this, one of the very first in the key of listen portrait poems. It's a series of portrait poems I have. And so I found it online here. I'm going to read it, and I'll put the link so you guys can find it after and give it to Jason for the magazine if he wants it. It just says in the key of listen for Aldo Tamberlini, but the title is actually Aldo Tamberlini in the key of listen. And there's one for Jan Kerouac too that's somewhere online. It's a brutal world. The cold sleep and the sharp edited listen paints with reality black. Harsh word lights shine into the crevices of daily denial. Fathoms of deep innocence are in a coma of ignorance bleeding. It's the blood of yesterday's headlines that appear red and dead awake on the hands of today as conservative safe clouds break and the black of sun comes as a gift of going blind. To understand seeing one relatively small planet clear through the brutal world of illuminated lies, using you like a free puppet with painted eyes, glassy and looking open to believe that if a rock or rocket of truth were to strike the center of your brushed on and glossed over cornea, nothing would change or shatter. Look, the strings. Nothing could cut the tethered motivation attached to your hands where armed weapons might live, attached to the smiling fist up your spine, ready to bear fangs at the squeeze of a trigger, ready to bear down on shredded information, shavings of voices from where no lips are moving, all just as if you would still believe to be the very source of your own freedom. Aldo Tamberlini in the Key of Listen. And Aldo reading what Jack introduces in one of those links. I put those there for people to leave here and go see them. But when you're done, if you want to, click the save chat button. And I got a crazy 10-hour day work week going on.
I'll post them later because I actually copied all of them down already and got the pages up. Can you read the last stanza for that poem just one more time?
It's a one running thing, starting with the tethered motive, the string. Look, the strings from there.
Yeah.
Look, the strings. Nothing could cut the tethered motivation attached to your hands where armed weapons might live, attached to the smiling fist up your spine, ready to bear fangs at the squeeze of a trigger, ready to bear down on shredded information, shaving of voices from where no lips are moving, all just as if you would still believe to be the very source of your own freedom.
A lot of good stuff in there. Definitely give us a link for that. That is great.
There's a banned movie called it's banned from the internet and from Kerouac.com and all over the world, and about 5 people involved in it have died, except for Ron Whitehead, who's still around. Jan Kerouac in the Key of Listen was the most, it was 8 lines of that ended up in that documentary.
Well, thank you.
Jack Shea died. He was at Stone Soup once too.
Wow. Thank you so much. And hopefully we'll have more for people who want to step up and talk about Aldo. I would like to publish and learn more because unfortunately he really was before my time, and the time I spent with him was not as informative because he wasn't speaking as much, but he wasn't out as much. But I always heard stuff was going on. He was always up to something. Let's go now to our second to last person on tonight's open mic, Mr. Eric Tate.
Thank you, Chad.
Hi, Chad.
Hey, Crystal, you're teasing us again. No poem, but you gotta wave.
Next week, I promise.
A little tease. So we'll look forward to it. I'm holding you accountable. Gonna hold you to it. Oh, yes.
Sticking with the political theme, dining with a side of racism and conspiracy theory. Boycotting Chick-fil-A hasn't fazed me, likewise Papa John's. But when the story broke confirming the owner of Hersey's Barbecue to be the ringleader of the convoy driving through Graham, shouting white power slogans into their bullhorns, this one hurt. After all, Hersey's has the best barbecue and coleslaw this side of Lexington. With the rise of Trump, racially motivated fringe groups are moving into the mainstream, recruiting as they connect with their brothers and sisters in arms. I suspect that's why, since the newspaper revelation, Hersey's business has been booming, with cars in the drive-through lane wrapping all the way around the building daily. Trump loyalists are anywhere and everywhere, testing the waters, identifying sympathizers, becoming comfortable with espousing their views out in the open. People like the owner of Paul's Pastry Shop, who until now has never uttered a word that might give me an inkling of his political leanings, suddenly feels so bold in the advent of a Trump victory as to deliver up a diatribe about stolen elections as he serves me my jelly donut. Thank you.
Nice. Very nice. Thank you so much, Eric. And without further ado, or is it ado? I don't know. Let's bring us now to our closer for the second and final round of tonight's round robin. For those who came in a little late, Tony Brown is going to be our feature for the first week of December. Tony Brown, many of you might know from the local poetry scene from Worcester, Boston. Fantastic poet and someone who I really wanted to make sure was with us for a post-election feature. Even though most of his poetry would not be hindered or changed by whoever won. You know, he's got that strong of political opinions. I've been following him since first seeing him co-feature alongside Michael Brown and others for the collection 100 Poets Against the War release at the Cantab. I think it was 100 Poets Against War. It was kind of composed around the same time as the Poets Against the War anthology by the then poet laureate. And 100 Poets Against War was not only available on Amazon, but I think it was also a downloadable book, which I never got. But Tony's work was amongst my favorite in there that I had heard performed. He's going to do some amazing work and might even have a surprise for us. And he said he doesn't like doing a lot of Zoom. He's not a big Zoom person, but he will do this for us. And I appreciate and very, very grateful for him. He's done a lot of, he's done some really good stuff for Stone Soup when Stone Soup was in, and myself was in, by Stone Soup, I mean me, I was in a jam. So I will always be grateful for that. So definitely come in 2 weeks from now. We'll still have I'm still projecting we'll have an open mic on Wednesday. Given that next week is Wednesday is Thanksgiving, it might be good to have that before we go our separate ways for the holiday. If I do anything for Thanksgiving night, which I've been pondering, it's going to be very secret and it will not be publicized. But for those who are the regulars, I'll let you know. But for now, let's welcome up Mr. James Van Looy.
Thank you. Let me just finish up with a song here. One of my old, I originally wrote this for the Bush-Cheney regime, but it seems to never go out of style. Corporate Caesar, corporate connection, fight, 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 fight. Corporate connection, corporate corruption, bye, 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 bye. Commercial consumption, consumer conniption, more, 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 more. Military industrial, military congressional, war, 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 endless warfare, forever warfare, fight, 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 doomsday scenarios, end, apocalyptic, apocalyptic, death, 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 death. Big bang, black hole, big bang, boing, 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 boing. Corporate Caesar, he can do anything to any one person. Corporate Caesar, he can do anything. But corporate Caesar, he can't do a thing. thing about the military industrials or their generals or that bankster crew. Corporate Caesar, he can do a thing. Corporate Caesar, fight, 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 fight.
Thank you, James. Love it. Although when I kept on hearing, this is how tired I am. When I heard the line "in their generals," I could have sworn I was "in their genitals." But even though I've heard this song from you before, but all I'm saying is I apologize in advance for any liberties I take with the Stone Soup Croutons poem coming out this Friday without fail most of the time. But that's not criticism. I'm just saying I'm tired. But never stop singing that song. And I hope all of you enjoyed your night, and I hope some of you enjoyed watching it. Eggy Allen Poe out there, if you're there, hello. We'll have you up. We'll come back to us someday, Eggy. We're going to conclude for tonight, and we'll look forward to next week. If there's a feature to announce, I hopefully will be able to announce them soon. If not, then after it is the holidays, so might have to wait until our first post-Thanksgiving feature, Tony Brown, and hopefully we'll have some fun features lined up to say goodbye and good riddance and fuck off to 2020. So I hope you all be there for me and join me as much as you can. It's going to be an interesting countdown to a very interesting year, and I say interesting in the old curse from the Chinese, may your life be long and interesting. That's the type of interesting 2020 has been. I'm so glad to experience it with all of you because, Stone Soup would be going on regularly on a night like this, but then I wouldn't be sharing it with a lot of the regulars from all around the country. So I'm blessed for that. We're blessed for that and for the time we have. And let's see what happens as we count down to 2020 and count down to our 50th anniversary in May. Will we be celebrating it together? I sure as fuck hope so. I'm hopeful now that we could possibly get shit together in the next 6 months. I'm not confident for the next phase of quarantine and shutdowns, which seem to be all but inevitable as all the businesses including seem to be making a cash grab. And hopefully we'll all be back together. Hopefully year 50, we'll have Carol Weston read and do the mother of all mic drops for year 50 and have many, many more guest stars. Maybe some of you will be by to experience it. Where will you stay? How you get here? You're not staying at my house. Sorry. But I got to say that in case my girlfriend is listening. But however you make it here, maybe we'll have a live feed of Zoomers where who can join in at the same time we're reading live. We've always talked about that. I've always talked about that with friends like Sue Lilly, who kept on saying, "Oh, I'd love to join in. I'd love to join in." And maybe this is the year I put up or shut up about that. We'll see what happens. But for now, we are signing off. And if we don't see you next week, for obvious reasons, enjoy your holidays. Stay safe. Take care of yourselves. Take care of someone else if you can. And also, the obligatory wave, and be sure to be around for this coming weekend for the Brownstone Poets reading. I'll be posting information about that tomorrow. So again, thank you guys very much. I'll see you on Saturday if you are able to join us, and have yourself a very good night.
See you
Thank
then.
you.
See you then.
Try not to hate. It comes back bad.
True.
Love on, people.
Hope to see you guys in
Take care,
Brooklyn.
guys.
Brooklyn.
All right, Brooklyn.
Bye-bye.
Brooklyn.
Shout
in
out
the
to
house.
Brooklyn.
I'll do my
Hello.
$5 and register. I hope I'm home to be there. I will be if I can.
Okay.
Thanks, Stacey. Take care.
Thank you. Bye, everybody.
Take care.